Hi, readers. Today I wanted to talk to you guys about um, plot versus theme when we're reading. And the plot is about what's happening in the story, and the theme is the big idea. So, the kind of like those thought bubbles that's going on in your head when you're reading. So I figured the best example to do this with is a book that we're both familiar with, and it's Because of Winn-Dixie. So if you were to think about what is happening in Winn-Dixie, well, Opal moves to a new town, Opal moves to a new town, and she is lonely and missing her old friends, but Opal finds friendships along the way and companionship with her dog Winn-Dixie. And then some of the things that we think about when we're reading and some thoughts that go into our head is kind of like the theme that's happening. So the theme in the story is it can be hard to make new friends, but it's almost always worth the journey on making those friends. I mean, think about all of the friendships that Opal has made along the way. First, she starts off with having the courage to own up to that Winn-Dixie is her dog, and it actually isn't her dog. And she gets to keep the dog and has this wonderful companionship with her dog. Some of us know that because we have our own pets too. And then as she goes along the way, she meets Miss Franny Block, who happens to be a very old librarian. And in your mind, you're probably saying, God, she must be really lonely and desperate because she's making friends with people that aren't even her own age. And Sweetie Pie Thomas, who's only 5 years old, and Opal is like a third grader, an 8-year-old like us. Um, but along the way, she meets these wonderful people, and she has all of these wonderful stories to share with them, and they share their wonderful stories with her. So those are the big ideas in the plot in the story is what's happening in the story, and the theme is to think about, well, what are those thought bubbles that are coming into our head when things are happening in our story. So here's what I'd like you to do, readers. I want you to think about, in your stories that you're reading by yourself, what are some of the plots and the themes? What are the big ideas and what's happening in the story? So here's your job. Your job, readers, is to read for 30 minutes. And then I want you to post on our Padlet. I want you to post and stop and jot some big ideas that are happening in your story. So I want you to post on our Padlet what's happening, what are the big ideas, what are those themes that is happening in your own story that you're reading independently. Also thinking about too the plot, what's happening in your story, how did the story start out, and how is it climbing that mountain to a problem, what is the problem in your story, and then how and what is the solution to your story. So the next time we meet next week, I want you to post on our Padlet at least one big idea from your story and some of the plot. So I know some of you are in different places in your books. So it might be what's happening in that current moment, and then what's the big idea, what's kind of going on in your head. Okay, have fun. I will meet with you next week. Thanks.